What is up, everybody? Just Joji here, and today what I wanted to do was talk about all of the side hustle income Maya and I made in the year 2020 as two 26-year-old teachers. But before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you smash that like button because it helps the channel out a lot, especially as a new YouTuber. And if at the end of the video you like what you saw and you would like to subscribe, we'd also love that too. With that said, let's get right into it. So I'll start by going over my side hustles first. That would mostly be Amazon FBA, Merch by Amazon with a little bit of a Redbubble and also Etsy thrown in there. I'll show you how much money I grossed from each of those platforms, and then I'll deduct all of the expenses and the fees to show you how much money I profited pre-tax. And then we'll just do the same exact thing for Maya, show how much money she grossed and deduct all of her expenses to show you how much money she made pre-tax. All right, I'm gonna start with Merch by Amazon. This is a platform where you can sell your designs on t-shirts or on sweatshirts or on mugs, whole bunch of different things, and you can sell them to anybody on Amazon's website, and you just earn a royalty check whenever that thing sells. This is something that I've actually been doing since 2015, and it's really been helpful. It's helped me pay off a lot of my college as I was going through college, including getting my master's degree, but it's been a pretty significant source of income for the last 5 years. And the process of it is quite simple. You really just make a design, you publish it onto Amazon, and if anybody who's searching Amazon in that niche that you made that shirt or that product for and they buy it, you just collect a royalty check. So you're not actually involved in the printing of the shirt or the making of the sweatshirt. All you're really doing is providing a design, and Amazon has all of these processes in place to print that design. Essentially, it's a print-on-demand site, and Amazon will just pick, pack, and ship that to the customer, and then you earn a royalty check. I sell my t-shirts for $19.99, and after Amazon takes their portion, the shipping portion, the manufacturing portion, I'm left with a commission or a royalty of $5.23. Here are a couple of the shirts that I made just so you can see what kind of designs I made. You can see that they're all text-based designs because I have absolutely no skills when it comes to any sort of graphic design or any sort of art. But what I was good at doing was searching for niches that shirts were selling in and trying to create clever sayings to fit those niches, and it worked pretty well for me. While I wasn't really making a killing or wasn't making a ton of money, which you'll see, I was making a significant amount to at least make doing this worth it. And before we get into how much money I made selling t-shirts in 2020, I think it's really important to note that I actually haven't made a t-shirt since the middle of 2019. And the reason for that is I'm just kind of burnt out with the Merch by Amazon platform. Over time, we've been making less and less royalties on shirts, and really just the biggest reason is that I just no longer really find it that much fun, which means that all of the money that you're about to see, all the money that I made in 2020 was truly just passive income because I didn't make any designs. I worked a total of 0 minutes on publishing anything or doing anything related to this business. I think there's a lot of potential with it, but I just no longer am really that interested in doing it. And so I'm just going to continue to collect any passive income that it generates, which I think it will still continue to generate a little bit of money every single year because I do have a couple of shirts in some niches that are really well established that have over 30 reviews. And that means that it's going to be really hard for the competition to kind of overtake my shirts. Now I'm sure over time all my t-shirt designs will become obsolete and I'll probably end up making $0, but for the time being I'm still making a decent amount, and so I thought I'd share it. So here we go. Merch by Amazon made $5,600 in royalties. Now keep in mind that I only make $5.23 every time a shirt sells for $19.99. So if you really look at the total number of shirts that sold, the total revenue is a lot more than what I actually bring home. But the $5,600 are all royalties. That's money that's paid out to me by Amazon. Now, something that's really embarrassing with this is that all of last year, every single month, I was paying $19.99 for a subscription that helped me make the designs and the t-shirts when I made absolutely no t-shirts in 2020. So I essentially just wasted $240, but that's something that I need to subtract from the total royalty amount. Now, Merch by Amazon wasn't the only place that I sold t-shirts. I also took a lot of those designs and put them on Etsy and Redbubble just to make a little bit of extra income. Last year, I sold $1,300 of gross revenue on Etsy, and after fees, that comes out to about $600 of income. And I sold a total of $163 of royalties on Redbubble as well. So if you add up all of the royalties that I made off of selling shirts on Merch by Amazon, Redbubble, and also Etsy, come to a pre-tax profit of just over $6,000, which is about a Roth IRA. I mean, that's not bad, right? That was for doing absolutely nothing. I worked 0 minutes, 0 hours on Merch by Amazon, Redbubble, or Etsy. I just have let this passive income continue to come in. Now, while that seems like a lot of income to just bring in passively, or maybe it doesn't seem like a lot of income to bring in passively, I was making considerably more than that every single year, but over the last couple years, like I said, I've been doing a lot less. I stopped making shirts in the middle of 2019, which means that $6,000 that I earned this year, or I guess last year in 2020, was all complete passive income. Now my second and more significant side hustle income comes from Amazon FBA. This is a much more active side hustle, meaning there's a lot more that I have to do on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis in order to make this happen. Amazon FBA is a platform where you can take products that you want to sell on their marketplace, ship them into Amazon's warehouse, and they become Prime eligible. So anybody who wants to buy whatever products you're selling, whether they be video games or clothing or grocery or whatever it is, they can buy those products and get them shipped to them in 1 or 2 days via Amazon Prime. Now, most of the products that I sell are just video games and books. Those are the two niches that I heavily focus on. And for 2021, I'm actually getting out of video games and just focusing more on textbooks because there's just more money in them, and I think I can make more money by focusing on just that one niche. But essentially, I got these video games and books from garage sales, thrift stores, meeting up with people on college campuses, and just reselling them online to make a profit. It's essentially like eBay, but in a much more scalable manner where you don't have to actually keep any of the things in your house. You can just send them to Amazon's warehouse and they can store all of your products for you. Of course, there are fees associated with this, but in my mind, it's completely worth it for the scalability and the potential of Amazon FBA. In 2020, I grossed over $62,000 on Amazon FBA. Now, before you go, holy cow, you made $62,000, that is before fees, that is before cost of goods sold, that's before taxes, that's before commissions, that's before a lot of stuff. So you'll see that this $62,000 amount is going to come down quite considerably. Now, there are a number of different fees that Amazon charges you. Pick and pack fees, there are referral fees, there are shipping fees. And so to find the actual amount of money that I brought home after fees, I'm simply just going to take that $62,000 and multiply it by 75%. Or in other words, I'm give or take saying that 25% of my total sales is just going straight to Amazon through Amazon seller fees. That leaves me with just under $47,000 that I actually took home via a paycheck every 2 weeks throughout the year 2020. But that's not all. I also needed to pay out roughly $5,000 in commissions because if you're watching some of my other videos, you know that I have a couple of sellers who sell their restricted textbooks on my account, and I make an 18% commission off of every single book that they sell. So in exchange for letting them use my account to sell their restricted books, I essentially make 18% of what they sell for free. That brings us down to just under $42,000. And the last things that we need to subtract are what we paid for the items and also all the supplies that I needed to successfully and safely ship all of my products to Amazon's warehouse. Cost of goods was around $16,500, and all the supplies that I needed to ship all my products came out to $750-ish. So if you subtract the $62,000 that it looks like I made, and you subtract Amazon seller fees, commissions, supplies, and also all of the cost of goods, you'll see that I really only made a profit of $24,000 to $25,000. So not only did I recover my $16,500 of investments in products that I wanted to sell, but I also made a profit of $24,000. So if you take all my shirt royalties and you take all the money I made on Amazon FBA, you'll see that I made a side hustle income pre-tax in 2020 of just over $30,000, which I'm pretty happy about. That's a pretty decent extra income to bring in, and it was one of the main factors that enabled me to max out my 457 and my Roth IRA without really needing to give up anything else because I was really just using my side hustle income to pay for those things. All right, enough of me. Let's get on to my better half, Maya, and see how much money she made in her side hustles in 2020. Hers is quite a bit easier to calculate because it doesn't require a whole bunch of this buying stuff and shipping stuff and buying supplies and all these expenses that just muddy everything and make it hard to come out with an actual number. Her primary side hustle is Teachers Pay Teachers. It's a website for teachers where they can put any of their projects or any of their crafts online for other teachers to buy. And in doing so, you make a royalty similar to the way that I make a royalty selling shirts on Amazon. But because Teachers Pay Teachers doesn't really need to do anything other than provide the platform, meaning there's no like production costs, they don't need to ship anything, the seller makes a lot higher percentage of the actual sale. What I'll show you now are some of the products that Maya sells. She's just a super creative person. And I told Maya a couple years back, like, why don't you sell some of these things? Because you just make really awesome things for your kids, and I'm sure other people love to have them. And anyways, eventually she started putting her products online and they started selling. She makes really fun and creative crafts for elementary school levels. And if you wanted to support Maya, the easiest way to do that would just go to her Teachers Pay Teacher store if you're a teacher and try to find something that you could use for your kids. I'm sure that there's something there for you. I believe she sells her products mostly for $4 to $5. And she also has some of those larger bundles, I think for $10 or $20, which have a collection of multiple resources. So in the year 2020, Maya sold $17,500 worth of products to other teachers across the US. That's an absolutely crazy amount to me. And the cool thing about these sales is that she gets to keep a large percentage of them. After all of the fees that are taken from the platform, it looks like she netted just over $14,000 of pure profit. Now that's still pre-tax income, so keep that in mind. But still, $14,000 is still enough to pay for a Roth IRA. It's still enough to pay for like half the year of rent. It is a very significant income, something that we are both very proud about. So now that we looked at how much money Maya made with her side hustle, let's look at how much we made combined for a pre-tax side hustle income in the year 2020. If you take her income of just over $14,000 and my income of just over $30,000, you see that as a couple, or as a combined pre-tax side hustle income, we made $44,000 this year. To give you a little bit of reference for how much extra income that is, I make around $70,000 as a third-year teacher, and Maya makes around $65,000 also as a third-year teacher. So that's it. That's our side hustle income in the year 2020 as two 26-year-old teachers living in Southern California. We'll say that we are both super grateful for the opportunities that all of these platforms have provided to us, but it's not like it's free. We have to go out there and do some active work in order to get it. And it does take a lot of hard work in the hours that we're not teaching, but we hope that our experience can show you that it is possible as a teaching couple to make some extra money doing some other things than just teaching. And ultimately, it is our side hustles that have enabled us to save so much money, and in particular to max out both of our 457s, because you can see that our side hustle income of $44,000 is more than the combined max contribution for both of us, $19,500 for me and $19,500 for her in both of our 457B accounts. So what's in store for 2021 in terms of our side hustles? Well, I predict that Amazon FBA for me is going to go way up. That's because I developed some processes to source more textbooks. I've also niched down and I'm just focusing on textbooks. I think my merch by Amazon is going to go way down because, again, I'm not making or planning to make any shirts in 2021. And so I'm sure I'm going to make a lot less this year than I did last year. And when it comes to Maya, she's continuing to put out new TPT products, so stay tuned if you are an elementary school teacher and you find any of her products helpful or fun and creative, which they are. But I think she expects to do even more than $17,000 in sales in 2021. But I guess you're just gonna have to stay tuned to find out and subscribe. So if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. Once again, you subscribe, turn on the notifications. But that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!